Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of Radio Turku. Today a bit of a special setting because I think it's the first time that we are only two in this studio. My name is Noemi, I am one of the co-hosts of Radio Turku, and I would really like to get to know more about how politics work in Finland, especially at the level of municipalities. So today we have not a politician from Turku, sadly, but we have a candidate from Helsinki who will tell us a bit more about the process and his own program. And who knows, in the future, we might have some candidates from Turku to enlighten us a bit more about what's happening in our own region. So welcome, Isaac. I'm really happy you came from Helsinki just for this interview. So congratulations on your application for being a candidate to these elections already. And maybe you could tell us a bit more about yourself, who you are. You are working on so many projects, it's going to be difficult to summarize, but maybe a bit about your background and where you are at now in your life.
No, it's great to be here. So I'm Isaac. I love that, you already said that I'm a politician or something. I don't feel like a politician. I feel like I do lots of stuff in my life, and I see lots of stuff that, needs changing in my environment. And I've always seen problems around me. So I'm an entrepreneur. I make body positive candles and soaps in the form of penises and talk about the anxiety people have over their bodies.
Not only penises, now they open the
we have vulvas, we have kind of everything. But anyways, we talk about, this kind of like anxiety people have over genitalia and anything related to that. Our project is called Giggeli, and we have our own showroom in Kallio in Helsinki. And been kind of a fun little project to host.
And I recommend to our viewers, in case you visit Helsinki, to check when the shop is open, because it's really nice to give a look around and to chat with the very nice owner of the shop.
Definitely. And you can find us from from the internet, giggeli.com or giggeli.com on Instagram, and we do lots of fun stuff there. But I do that. Then I study. I started my master's in economics now, so I study in business school in Helsinki in Aalto, and I do a bunch of stuff. And then I say that I'm an activist. I'm a member of the Green Party of Helsinki and of Finland, and I'm running my own city council election campaign now for next year, which is super exciting. But then I also do some social media production work and visit some schools and do language classes and all of this stuff. So I don't know. My life is filled by a lot of side quests. I say that my life I just told you during lunch that, my life, it's like a game. You have to pass all of these different side levels and side quest and levels to like unlock the next level. And that's how I feel like I am doing continuously right now. And it's fun. It's fun. And I like, now I've gotten this new stage of me starting this like political campaign. I've always been very enthusiastic about civic stuff, but then talking also about what's really wrong in our city and why we maybe need more pedestrian streets, or why we maybe need more representation of people who haven't been represented before in governments, and why we need more entrepreneurship and stuff like this. That I decided that stuff and politics is sometimes it feels very dysfunctional, and I see so many problems around me, so I was like, okay, why not go there myself? And why not, do some change to this myself?
I wanted to ask you to tell us a bit more about Giggeli, but since you started to answer, maybe I would still want to know a bit more. Why did you start this project, and what did it bring to your life? Because it was such a long journey in the end. It's been how many years that you're doing it already?
It's already been almost 3 years, over 2.5 anyways. And we started it from as all good conversations start. We started in a bar, and we talked about how penises are so stigmatized. People always are like, guys usually, they want a bigger penis. I don't think I've met a single person who doesn't want a bigger penis.
I know.
Anyways, most people usually want a bigger penis. Or then there's like, they have anxiety over like going to the sauna or going swimming or something, because they feel like it's somehow so scary to reveal yourself naked as how you are, even though there's really nothing wrong with you. And then we were like, okay, that these beauty standards are just crazy. We have to do something to this, at least talk about this issue. And then we're like, okay, let's bring the thing to the table and let's make candles. Ara had made candles before. Nobody had ever modeled real like penises into candles, as I know before. So we're like, okay, let's do this. Took a couple of months of figuring out how you model them. We ended up reading like dentistry books to be able to see how like dentists model teeth. And then we came to the, end product at some point, and we started talking about the whole issue and selling our products, and suddenly we were on the news and in a bunch of different news channels. On the Finnish Dragon's Den last year, we've been kind of everywhere now, so it got like this own media visibility directly so afterwards, which was super good, because that meant that also people were valuing our issue and our problem in the same kind of light. And I feel like at least what we've been able to do is like open up some conversation, at least, if that maybe before people haven't been able to take about, or they haven't been able to open that same conversation. So it's
for me
been fun.
It's crazy that it's really like the perfect startup journey, because you found a problem to tackle. You made the prototype, you released, okay, it works well that way, and now you amplify it and you reach out to, the media even reached out to you directly, from what I understood.
Yeah, we haven't reached out to a single reporter during this whole time. So we've been a part of Ilta-Sanomat, Iltalehti, Hesari, Yle, a bunch of smaller newspapers all around Finland and Sweden, and actually kind of everywhere. Every single time it's been so that they've reached out to us and they've asked for an interview, which has been also, that shows that there is some kind of like demand, at least for our story.
Yeah, maybe journalists also question their own genitals.
And we've got very like interesting also, discussions with different journalists. There was this one journalist that was also a professor in Norway in social studies, and talked about everything on how like society has viewed nudity in the past and how they view it now, as on how so much has changed, which I felt was super interesting to listen to. That he, for example, said that in Norway 40 years ago it was much more common to be naked in the sauna, but these kind of American norms of hiding your body have become more normalized in Norwegian society. Nowadays it's almost unheard of going naked to a sauna in Norway. And this was something that is super shocking, that it's like the way how people view nudity, it's, culture changes and nothing stays the same. And I guess we want to be a part of the change in some kind of way, which is...
Learned about Giggly. I met you because you were nominated for this Ashoka Young Change Maker thing. I forgot the exact title.
As were you.
Exactly, as was Radio Turku, so we need to speak more about it. And it was really nice to come see your shop, etc. I bought a few gifts, so I recommend this shop. But now, from this entrepreneur journey to politics, why have you decided to run for the election?
Oh, so many reasons. I've always been super interested in civic society, and I guess problems around me. I see problems regarding city design, around how much racism, homophobia, and sexism this country has, and like just so many small issues that I'm like, I just feel like I can't be quiet. I can't, I have to do something to these problems. I never thought of becoming a politician per se, but at some point I realized that the easiest way for me to actually lobby and make a change more and more, like even though I've done that as a private individual forever, was to join a party and also reach into possibly city politics, where you could also influence how for example, just streets are built, how we design cities, how we make them just more friendly for pedestrians and people that want to live around and use the city as their living room. And then I was like, okay, well, I've been lobbying for these issues, so I might as well join the party. And it didn't take that long until I was asked also to become a city council candidate, which was a big thing for me, because I know that very many people want to become city council candidates.
So they suggested to you once you were participating to meetings?
Yeah, so the chair of our party, Sofia Virta, she asked me join the city council
Okay.
election, and then I started my campaign from there. Well, it took a couple more months after that until I released my whole campaign announcement and everything. But no, it's now I'm at that point that I am actively campaigning, doing lots of stuff, and let's see. I feel like, at least personally, I feel like I have good ideas. I hope other people also resonate with those ideas. But we'll see if those ideas really resonate and if people vote for me. I guess like every single vote that people wants to give is already that's already a big thing, that somebody wants to give their only vote to someone. But I do hope that especially us in the Green Party, and then I guess that candidates really have great ideas, that they do well next spring, because it's not that far away that we have the city council elections. It's 4 months. So it's really soon.
Yeah, this video will probably be released in January, so you will have 3 months to think about these issues. But I think this is something that internationals should really pay attention to. A lot of us are able to vote for the municipalities, and maybe you are not even aware that you are allowed to participate. So, for instance, can you remind me the percentage of internationals voting?
It was under 20% of internationals voted, under 35% of under 30-year-olds voted in the last city council elections, which is it's crazy. For example, also of internationals, most people don't know that they have the right to vote. If you're an EU citizen and have lived in Finland for 51 days, you have the right to vote. Or if you're any international who's lived in Finland for 2 years, you have the right to vote. And you have the right to vote in your own city. So of course, there's different candidates in every single municipality, every single city. In Helsinki, we have different candidates than in Espoo or in Turku.
Yeah.
Or in some small towns, they have their own candidates. And that's how, city politics, they play a very different role also in many different places. Like the Helsinki city politics can also play a big role in national politics because it is the capital city and stuff. But I say like cities like Turku, Tampere, and even smaller cities, they also have a huge role on day-to-day lives, how our schools work, how our healthcare works, how our, public transportation is, what are the prices of that, and where do we have bus routes or tram routes that go in. And all of those are big issues that really affect your day-to-day life.
Yeah, and for me it's really important to have representatives of minorities also. Like in your case, for instance, the LGBT value or tolerance values in general are really important. And I feel that as internationals, we need to check in the list, okay, are they people representing immigrants' rights, equity, this kind of matters. So they are in Turku, and I hope we will have the chance to interview them also. But really it's worth, if you realize that you have the right to vote, to check the list and who can represent your interests at best. So in your case, like you're part of this minority also of youth who didn't participate so much to the election. So why is it important for to have young candidates to the elections or young representatives?
I mean, it's not really a question about having just young candidates, because any candidate can be a great candidate, but just the problem of having equal equity and equal decision making on any decision making tables. I feel like we're a part of this society as much as anybody else. People who are over 70-year-olds, they normally have a much bigger say in what our politics and policies are doing right now, because they vote a lot more. So I think it's a question about also having equal equity at decision making tables, and I guess equality also in that way. So it's not really a question about being a young person, but having people of all different backgrounds who are deciding on behalf of us. And right now, if you look at the parliament, you look at city councils, we look that some groups of people are extremely underrepresented. And one group is, for example, youth. We have, I don't remember how many there are right now, politicians or members of parliament that are under 30-year-olds, but when the last parliamentary election was held, 7 people out of 200 were voted in as under 30-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
That's not many at all. In the last Helsinki City Council election of 85 city council members, I think it was 2. So we don't have many people that are under 30 that really get to have a say at decision-making tables. Although, of our electorate, it's around 15% that are between the ages of 18 to 30. So we should have around 15% of people there.
Yeah.
that are in those ages, but we don't have that, which is
A bit
tells about
scary.
our system. Yeah, that we have 3.5% in parliament, and we have, what is it in Helsinki City Council, 2%. So that tells about.
Yeah, and I feel that it's so important to have young people also because we were born with technologies and they are such a big part of our lives nowadays, and some people who are representing us, they might not even understand what's the impact, or for instance now there are all these discussions with the AI and what data they can use, etc. And I feel that a younger audience would be more aware of this kind of issues. I take this example, but it can be others, or we are in general more open-minded, but also more polarized. So yeah, there's more work to do, and I'm really happy to see that they are young representative. I think for me it would be really scary to go young. I would feel unprepared, and I'm really happy to see that they are people who are brave enough. I think it's difficult to present yourself to an election in general, and especially from what we have discussed before. I would like to know, just you tell me if you want to answer this question, but I was really interested in the fact that you're don't get a lot of compensation for your work as a representative. You get some, but it's not. You will not make a living out of it, and you need to finance your own campaign most of the time. So that's a huge investment for a young person who has maybe just started to work. So would it be okay for you to share a bit more about this?
Yeah. I mean, campaigning is not cheap, and I feel like, I don't know, most politicians, people always say that politicians earn so much money or something. It's not true in this country. In this country, if you look at an average politician, that's a city council politician that does maybe like a couple meetings a month and works, their ass off to do something for the city. So it is lots of volunteering you actually end up doing. I think most people do it because, they're interested in what happens in their environment, and that's the most important thing. So it's expensive, definitely, and sometimes, like for example with me with a limited budget, I have to think about creative ways of how to come up with how to talk about certain issues and whatever. But I think that what is the most difficult thing is also is exactly how you said, the polarized environment. So like you go to TikTok and I open my TikTok comments, it's just absolutely crazy how much hate there is on every single video. And it's like no matter what you do, is that people are extremely polarized. People will be defending racism. People will be defending everything crazy, basically, just by going over here and looking at whatever comments. I had comments about homophobia, and or I was talking about homophobia, and I had people who were defending homophobia and said that being gay is a sin, basically, in my videos, because that's what some people think, and that's
2024.
that's what our society is, and that's something you also see when you're campaigning, and you see a lot of hate towards politics and politicians. When I was at it's not just online, but when I was at this Green Party tent at the market square in Helsinki, and nice market, no worries, but most people come, and they come with hate to politicians. Nobody really is interested in really like nice things maybe from those parties, but there became people who yelled that we bring the N-worded people into Finland, and that people that are climate denialists and
like the president of the US.
That's what we have. That's what we have, and it's like I see that there's just this society is super polarized, and there's very many people who somehow feel left out, and there's like it's very, very hard to do politics in this day and age. It's very hard to talk about civic society because there is so much hate, and I wish sometimes there were a bit less. And I can understand that for very many people it can be very unmotivating also to like affect your environment if all you get is hate back. And I guess those reactions of hate are always the strongest ones, so that's why you always see them.
Actually, I have an extra question for you, because now you're in the middle of this process, and what do you do to take care of yourself, and what would you advise to someone who is a bit in a similar position as you, and who I don't want to make generalities, but when you are defending some values like tolerance, peace, etc., you are really often targeted, or especially if you come from a minority or if you're a woman, these kind of things. So what do you do to protect yourself, and what would you advise someone in the same position to do?
This is a great question. I think one thing that you have to always understand is there's always going to be crazy people in society. One thing that I've started asking from people who come and criticize, our party or my politics or something, is I ask them directly that, hey, are you interested even in voting for the Green Party? They say no. And then, you understand also that there are some people who just want to kind of just be against you.
Yeah, and release the anger or something.
Yeah. So I think one thing that is nice is just, showing compassion and showing some kind of love and I don't know, just being nice to other people. That already brings you a long, long way. Stopping prejudice and just accepting all people as they are. I think that's the main thing. And getting out of your comfort zone also sometimes. I guess like the thing that helps me is that I know that if I present my opinions, those are my opinions. And that's exactly what I think about. If somebody wants to criticize them for what they are, they can criticize them. I don't care. But I'm not going to change those opinions based on that most often. Yes, I will hear different, decision makers and hear what they have opinions on different issues. And as soon as, science and facts are presented that are valid enough, I'm also ready to change my opinions and see that how policies should change according to that. But I think that this kind of like science and fact-based information and decision-making is something that is extremely rare nowadays.
Yeah.
In politics, which is sad. It's sad. It feels like many people do decisions purely based on prejudice or ideologies or fear or something. And I don't know. We need more science, I think.
Yeah, maybe what protects you is that you are sure that the values you are fitting the values that you defend.
Yeah.
But it must be difficult when it's your person that is attacked, not even they don't even care about the Green Party, they're just coming here to insult someone, basically. And they know that you are in this position that you will not answer. So...
But that happens all around in society. And I think one thing, if I'd give advice to anyone who wants to make a change, is that one thing that just isn't done often enough is standing up for people. So you get all of these hate comments, you get people who are extremely against and stuff, but sometimes it's also good to, give sympathies and just say if somebody's doing a great job, tell them that. I think that's something that is also good. And then also being brave. So don't be afraid of, bringing out your opinions and stuff. I think that's also something that is super scary, is that you get so much hate nowadays that people are scared of participating in democracy. People are scared of doing stuff in society because they're afraid of that hate that they could face. And that's something that definitely should be tackled. I think the only way to do that is being brave. Bringing those opinions, bringing them in a compassionate way, of course. There's many ways of communicating and stuff. I think that we should, in general, be a lot less judgy to people and just, stop judging and start understanding. I think that's something we need.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you can stand up to help other people. Because the more you show solidarity, the less people will be... for instance, I've been confronted a lot recently to situations where a person was discriminated against, and it can be in a casual way, like, ha ha ha, it's just a joke. But you can say that I don't find it funny. It's enough to participate already, to the effort, to signaling to this person, I disagree with your opinions, and it's not funny to mock a person because they are different, they have different social codes. For instance, I'm thinking about our immigrants, since I belong to this group. And yeah, so support each other, because, for instance, within immigrants, we have this tendency to say, oh, they are good and bad immigrants. No, we are all in the same struggle at the moment, so let's support each other more, and people will help you also. I really believe in this. I would like just to wrap up to ask you if you could tell us more about your program, like what you are defending at the moment for this election.
Yeah. So I have actually on Isaac.fi, I have my whole campaign site and I have all of my, I guess, main things there. I have very many interesting themes up there. I think one thing that I'm advocating for that I haven't heard anybody else advocate for in the same kind of way is free public transport. Free public transport, I think that's something that's very great in Tallinn, in Luxembourg. It's been able to, drive less cars to be on the streets and make us so people who need to drive on a car more, comfortable driving without as many cars on the streets. It's been able to lower the amount of maintenance needed on roads. It's been able to lower CO2 emissions. It's been able to just improve mobility of people from one place to another. That's a very important theme for me. Then just having, nice streets and a nice environment where people can, interact with each other. We can have pedestrian streets, we can have events, people can, affect their neighborhoods by maybe doing art outside in their neighborhood. That's something that we need in every single neighborhood. So having those graffiti walls, having those different places where you're allowed to maybe paint in the city or ask for permissions to do murals or something. That's, I think, something that is super important to have this local culture.
Community.
Yeah, and I think community-driven city culture is something we need a lot more in Finland. Sometimes stuff can be too sterile. And that's I guess my second theme that I'm running on. And thirdly, one thing that I talk a lot is about, I guess, I bunch them together, but this attracting internationals and also entrepreneurship. So, being able to be a city that really attracts people to the city and attracts people to be able to work and live and enjoy and do business and start new ideas. That's something we need more and more in this day and age. I think that more and more people are seeing Finland as an attractive destination to come to, and Helsinki as well. And we have to do something to, lift up that attractivity and make us startups and business and entrepreneurship super easily accessible to people, and I guess internationals as well. I want to be, the #1 city for just well-being and living and making a living.
Yeah, and if
Europe.
I can comment at this moment, I think Finland is super attractive. I will play the devil's advocate. Finland is super attractive, but it's super hard for internationals to stay, just not mentioning the new laws that make it impossible to stay if you are unemployed more than 3 or 6 months. That is going to pass in April, or it's harder to get the Finnish citizenship. So Finland, the last government passed a lot of laws that are very, making immigrants feel unwelcomed. And it's, for me, really a bad move from Finland, because they are shooting themselves in the feet when they are saying, come study, and then, but you cannot be unemployed, so you need to find a new country. So I hope, I'm like a wink now, that let's hope Finnish politicians will keep this in mind, that okay, you can attract internationals, but you need to give them the chance to also create this business, and they can, or join a company, and if they are not given the opportunity to stay and to look for a job for a long time, then they will go to other European countries.
Yeah, and I think we also have to change our cultural narrative. The way how we talk about the way how we talk about immigration is extremely negative in this country. And it's for me, it's mind-boggling, because what do immigrants bring? They bring new ideas, they bring new thoughts, they're no different from anybody else. If you're thinking that somebody's moving to Finland, that's most likely for a reason. That's either to find, better opportunities, make a life, make a living, and maybe flee somewhere where you just cannot be. So being able to give those opportunities and give that little push to help people forward in their life, I think that's something that is super important. And then right now we're creating this cultural narrative of being against immigrants in some kind of way that it's very scary. It's very scary. And even the way how in Finland you talk about second and third generation Finns.
Yeah.
You talk about them as second and third generation immigrants. You say tokan ja kolmannen sukupolven maahanmuuttajat.
It's the name.
Yeah, and that's what you say in Finland most often. I've started saying tokan ja kolmannen sukupolven suomalaiset as second and third generation Finns because
it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. If you're born in this country,
yeah,
you suddenly, you You're as Finnish as anybody else.
I didn't even know it was a word. It's crazy.
But that's how Finland treats foreigners very often. They don't see people that have an ethnic background other than purely Finnish as necessarily being Finnish, even though you've lived in this country for your whole life.
It's crazy.
And that's something that should change also. The way how we also view other people and accept other people and we should be more inclusive in that kind of way. Of course, we have our own values. We should respect human rights and openness and I guess the right to just be yourself. But I think that's something that I think anybody can write their name under if they just want to move here and believe in this country.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what they should definitely believe in as well. So it's the immigration question it's super worrisome because there's so many people that are not seeing Finland as an attractive place anymore, and we don't get that top talent anymore that we should get, and we need the best and the brightest here.
And you already have such educated immigrants. Like when you check the percentages, or when now I'm working at the university, and when I see people coming, most of them have already a bachelor or master's degree, years of experience, and they come. And since, for instance, they don't speak Finnish fluently, or they find some cultural barriers, because when you have a foreign name, it's more difficult to find a job, it's more difficult to apply, etc. And then you find people who are like, okay, if I don't want to get expelled from Finland, I will need to find any kind of job. And so you can have people who, I'm taking waiter example because in my case I worked as a waitress. I was a very bad waitress, but well, I'm sorry for my colleagues who did a school and who were really good at this. But me, I was terrible. I was studying something that was completely unrelated with waitressing. But I was here because I needed to make money at some point. And some people are put in this situation that they need to do a job that is completely unfitted for them because of these new laws. And these new laws are always difficult for non-Europeans. And I think that's really something Finland needs to work on regarding like this differentiation of hierarchy between Europeans and non-Europeans. I think it's quite shocking here.
Yeah, and you can't really choose immigrants. Like once you make this country, somehow you shape the cultural narratives like against a certain group of immigrants or people, then all of the other immigrants will also see this country as less attractive. And that's also something that many people forget, that you cannot just choose one type of immigrant to come to this country. That's not possible. I mean, that doesn't work. Like, yes, we can build our immigration in a very legal and well-made way that, is able to attract great people here. But we can't just choose that, hey, we're not taking immigrants that are Muslims.
Yeah,
and that's what some people
of color.
Yeah, that's what some people from our government are proposing right now, which is it's crazy. It's crazy. They're like straight away discriminating and talking about discriminatory talks, and then I'd even say half of the population sometimes says that this is okay, and they're like, yeah, let's go with this, and then it's against the, our own constitution or something in the end. But still, that's what life is right now in Finland in 2024, which is, I mean, I don't say that the government hasn't done any good things. They have done some good things, although maybe not for me. But yeah.
That's why you need to go to vote. And for instance, in Turku, we have this great representative, Teresia Bilola. I will put her, like the link to her candidature on the description of the video, and really check what other internationals who, in her case, she has the Finnish nationality now. Check what Finns with international background or internationals are doing for you already, and get into this process, because we need to participate to the decision making if we want to them to take us into account. So I think there is hope, because we have these representatives starting to pop up. But we need now to move also our asses to check, okay, who can represent me? Can I be a representative? And I think that's something we forget often, that if you can vote, you can present yourself to the election. And I discovered this also recently. So that's nice to have this discussion.
Yeah.
But do you have my questions are done, but maybe you want to add a little word of conclusion or something, a topic you wanted to mention and you didn't have time?
Yeah, I think one thing that is just super important is that no matter where you live and, you know, I guess in Finland, but no matter where you live in Finland, just remember to vote, because you most likely, if you're listening to this, you have, you know, you have your own right to vote in the next elections. If you don't know who you vote for, I feel like many people also have a hard time deciding who to vote for. It's better to always vote for someone that is close to your values than someone that you don't vote at all. And there's great sites also out there, like Yle always releases like a month before the election this vote compass.
Yeah.
Go there, answer those questions, see which parties come up first. Vote for someone from those top parties. That's better than not voting for anyone at all.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're in Helsinki, you can vote for me.
By the
or
way.
if you have friends that are in Helsinki, that's obvious. It's very, very welcome. I will take those votes very gladly. Yeah, do that. Make sure to vote.
Tell your friends from Helsinki to vote also. Now you know. But thank you, Isaac, for coming today from the neighbor city, and happy to see that we are opening to national guests also for this show. But yeah, thank you for taking the time to answer. And now I think we know a bit more about how municipalities are working.
Great. Thank you so much.